dividing scientific notation. Now, remember what this would normally mean is when you have a number divided by another, this means this number that's going to be on top, this number that's going to be on the bottom. So when I would move this, I need my decimal over here between 3.25. How many places did I move it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places where I moved it. That 3 million is a huge number. That's why it's positive. Divided by, well, I need my decimal over here between that 4 and the 7. And what that means is I move my decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. But remember, since that's an absolutely tiny number, right? The width of the piece of paper, that's when that would be the negative. Now, let's look at what's going on because I can divide these. Grab your 4-function calculator, punch it in. You're going to get 0.6915. All right, that's easy enough. Do that on the calculator. But remember what this means is when we're dividing, remember that means I've got 10 times 6 tens in the top. Remember what a negative exponent would be? I could think about this theoretically. Yeah, that means throw it in the top. That means that I have 5 more up there. But remember, quotient of powers, that's when I would subtract -5. Well, remember, minus and negative turns into a plus. 6915 times 10 to the 11th power, right? But now think about what's going on. I don't have a number that's between 1 and 10 yet. Well, my has to be there. Now, before we start going memorizing, trying to think of rules, because we have 4 different scenarios of whether this number is bigger than or less than your 1, or whether this is a positive or negative exponent. And what it's going to feel like is if you try to make a rule, it's always going to feel like the exact opposite. When you make a mistake, it's going to be the exact opposite. There are 4 different scenarios. So always just think hypothetically what this means. Well, that 10 to the 11th power means, if I were to write this number out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 places over, right? That positive means this is a huge number, right? We're talking about 6 trillion or whatever, right? 69 trillion. That's what that to that 11th power means. Well, where do I really need it? Between the 6 and the 9. But remember, then if I had to move it back, well, just even counting hypothetically, if I moved it back 11 places, that would be the same, but I needed it 1 less. So it's going to be 10 to the 10th power. Still positive because it's still a giant number, but just think about what's going on is whenever you have the positive, that's when you have the gigantic number. Whenever you have the negative, that's when you have the small number, moving the decimal to the left, moving the decimal to the right. Draw what that number is. It doesn't even need to be drawn out. You don't even need to put all the zeros or put all the decimals or whatever it ends up needing to be. Think about it in your head. What direction am I moving? How many do I have to move it back? Do I move it back 1 more, making it 12? Do I move it back 1 less, making it 10? And just keep the sign up, whether it's a really big positive or really small negative. That's dividing scientific notation.